spoiler phobes, you have stumbled into a storm of spoilers, a Star Wars special, where we are covering the second season of the Disney Plus streaming series Andor in 4 chunks, just like they dropped on that streaming service. This week, we are focusing on episodes 4, 5, and 6, but discussion can include content from the Star Wars movies, the Star Wars TV shows, the Star Wars novels, the Star Wars comics, and video games, maybe, the Star Wars universe. There's definitely a lot of that in this week's trivia section. There's also a shorter part of the podcast at the end called The Storm, as in a storm of spoilers, where we could discuss the future 6 episodes of Andor Season 2 and other things that happened around the galaxy. We're not ruining, we're enriching, and we're taking down the Empire. Why, hello, I'm Dave Gonzalez, and I'm just on Ghorman to deal in textiles.
And I'm Neil Miller, and I have friends everywhere. I made them along the way.
And welcome back to a storm of spoilers. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us at stormofspoilers@gmail.com. You could ask us about Andor. You could just have questions for the show. Like, Dave, why are you on YouTube at youtube.com/@DA7EANDNEIL? Dave and Neil, and not Storm of Spoilers. Legitimate questions at stormofspoilers@gmail.com. You can also review this show on iTunes and on Spotify. You could leave us a 5-star rating on both. We would very much appreciate it. And if you leave it on that iTunes or Apple Podcast app, you could say whatever you want. We will read it on the show. We don't have any reviews over on the Apple app, but we do have a comment over on Spotify. Heather jumped in to last week's episode to let us know, not only is Sam Gilroy, Tony's son, one of the idiot brigade leaders, Benjamin Norris, the opposing idiot brigade leader, is married to Tony and Dan Gilroy's niece. So keeping it in the family, the Gilroy family, last week with the various idiot brigades on Yavin 4. Here on Storm of Spoilers, we are going to continue covering Andor Season 2 for 2 more weeks, so stay tuned on Wednesdays, and you can simultaneously see a video version of the episode on that YouTube channel I mentioned earlier, youtube.com /at Dave and Neil. That's DA7EANDNEIL. You can also join us at patreon.com /DA7EANDNEIL for more content like this. Neil and I do 2 more podcasts a week with each other, covering various pop culture things, and we lord with a very lax hand, not at all a Ghorman hand, over a Slack that is the best place in the internet, where you all get to chat with each other, lead your own rewatches, react to whatever type of news you want to react to. It is great. You all are fantastic and make pop culture so much better. All right, Neil, I think we're just about ready to get into this episode. If people have been a member of our Patreon for a long time, we knew that it initially started to support Storm of Spoilers with a whole bunch of bonus episodes. And then we watched Lost. It was quite a journey. But since then, Storm of Spoilers has been missing one person. I think we need to rectify that right now with some Star Wars trivia. Hi, everyone. We're back for another trivia segment. You might recognize our guest this week. One Joanna Robinson, founder of this feed, has returned.
Co-founder.
Founding founder of this feed.
Founding father. Yeah, exactly.
So she is coming to step into the spot that Katie Rich left warm for her in slot 2 of 4 in our Star Wars trivia. Here, where we're trying to get all the guests to beat Neil. I was going to take all the points together and slab them, and slowly we're going to push Neil down into a hole. But here's what I learned last week. First of all, I accidentally gave Katie Rich 2 points by saying the answer while I was reading the question. So what I learned last week, write out the complete questions, Dave. I did that, but I do think that Neil should get 2 additional points for me just giving Katie answers. Because what I ultimately learned, Neil, is that I don't need to be mean to you was, like I said before, about me asserting dominance over both the guests.
You really shouldn't kick a guy when he's already down. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So being like Katie, who's C-3PO, and then being like Neil, who's the droid in a video game you didn't play, that did seem a little bit mean. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to give you those 2 additional points. Plus, we had listener Danik write in. And in our segment where this character debut in live action or in animation, I said Boba Fett was in animation because of the Star Wars special. And Danik sent me a news post of Boba Fett debuting in a parade, which technically they are correct. That is live.
Amazing.
I don't just necessarily think that's, canonical, but I am technically wrong, which is the best type of wrong. So you know what, Neil, I'm going to give you another point.
Excellent.
So that brings us to 18-11 in favor of the guests here going into these rounds with Joanna. And we're going to start off slow because, again, this is you guys versus me ultimately. So before we even get to distributing points, this first grouping of 6 questions, you guys get to work as a team. If you get it right, you both get the points. And there's no penalty for getting it wrong because, again, I'm just trying to balance this game where I seem really smart and everybody has fun. Those are the 2 goals.
Okay.
You are part of everybody. You should also be having fun.
Okay.
This game is about
I
Dave.
just didn't know when you asked me to do this a few days ago, you didn't say the point of this whole thing is to make me, Dave, look really smart. Joanna, will you come on a Star Wars trivia segment to make me look really smart? That was not what was pitched to me, but okay.
Honestly, that was not what was pitched to me either. I'm feeling bamboozled as well.
Wow, real bait and switch here, man.
I mean, if you're going to do that, don't tell them until you're recording. That's what I always say. So here comes round 1. A possible 6 points for each of you, and you can work together. This round is called Space Commodities. Question 1. This planet, used during the Galactic Republic era by the Jedi as a source of kyber crystals, was later strip-mined into Starkiller Base by the First Order.
So what planet is Starkiller Base? Is the question.
Indeed. Or if you watch the Clone Wars series and watched Ahsoka show some younglings how to build a lightsaber, you would have also visited this planet.
I have seen that episode, but do I remember the name of the planet?
Wait, is it not the same planet in Rogue One? Jeddah?
It is not. Jeddah is the second kyber crystal planet.
Oh, I didn't know there were multiple kyber crystal planets.
Well, some of them had to be invented.
There should be so many more lightsabers.
This whole thing is, you don't know as much about Star Wars as Dave does. Didn't we already know that to be true?
All right.
Is it, wait. Is it, I feel like it's something like, it's like Illyria or something like that. That's my best guess.
That is so close. It is Ilium.
Oh.
That's
like
pretty great.
One consonant off.
I know. I'm tempted to give you both the point because Jeddah and almost Ilium is like an approximation.
Jeddah plus Illyria is so close to Ilium. Yeah.
But no.
What we're saying is that we could find the kyber if we needed to.
Yeah. You could be like, I'm looking for this type of planet. This next question is, what is the name of the hyperdrive fuel that Disney created in Star Wars that is featured in multiple places like Solo: A Star Wars Story and the Smuggler's Run ride at the theme parks?
What is the name of the spice? The Star Wars spice.
It's not the spice, it's a fuel, right?
Yeah.
Yes, spice is just spice.
Doesn't it start with a C, or is that the planet?
It does start with a C.
It starts with a C. Okay.
I know they mine it on Kessel.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had a droid rebellion. That was fun.
This sounds way too similar to the answer to the last question, but my best guess is something like beryllium. Neil, how do you feel about that as an answer? Would you like to guess something else?
What is it called? That's better than any of the guesses that I would have.
Okay, that's what we're guessing.
It is coaxium. Again, you guys you're right up against it.
Coaxium, like the cable that we used to use to connect our cable boxes.
Here we go. Maybe Neil could take the lead.
This is why Mallory never agrees to do like trivia things, because she's just like, then you just reveal what you don't know, and I'm like, this is mortifying. Okay, go ahead.
This one maybe Neil could help take the lead on.
Okay.
Ipsium, a fuel from Ipsodon, is a relatively new addition to Star Wars canon, appearing in Bad Batch Season 2 and as a side quest for the Ashiga clan in this Star Wars video game.
Well, so what's the most recent Star Wars video game?
It's from Star Wars Outlaws.
Hey!
Okay.
Oh, wait, is that the answer?
Yes.
Oh, shit. I was like, I can't believe you're going to make me remember plot from Star Wars Outlaws.
No, just the name of it.
Just the name of the game.
God. Thank God.
We did it. +1 for everybody. So with 1-1, we continue with our space commodities questions. A blue-green gas called Cluzon 36 is a powerful hyperdrive fuel, but is also inhaled by these space whale-looking creatures, which allows them to travel by hyperspace. What are the space whales called?
Oh, the space whales. I feel like I just read this too on Wikipedia.
No, I know this one. Purgles.
It is the Purgle. Fantastic. All right, these two, I think I overshot even for me, so I'll give you a hint. The answers are hinted to in the question. This hyperspace fuel, nicknamed Rhino, debuted in the Clone Wars animated series episode Missing in Action and mostly served as something that could cause a distraction for an escape by exploding it, until Andor revealed it was what Saw Gerrera's been huffing all these years.
We are the Rhino.
Wait.
What's the question?
What's the question?
What's the full name of the Rhino? What's the Rhino?
Rhydonium.
Thank you. Excellent. 3 points. See,
Ask
maybe
me all Andor questions. That's what's freshest in the old noggin.
Neil has already named 2 of the things that are mined from Kessel, but here's a question about the third. The green and toxic fuel is a byproduct of spice mining on the planet Kessel. Like the one we saw in Solo, I always imagine it smells like gas because it makes toxic clouds when it is used by machinery.
A green fuel from Kessel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Might smell like gas.
Oh, is it like gas? Neil, is there something that sounds like gas or gasoline?
Maybe. Or is it something like petroleum adjacent as a name? I don't know.
What do you want to guess? Is this us working together or are we against each other?
You're still working together. This is the last working together question.
Green gas.
I bet it's just gas. It's like something like gasoline because he hit the word gas like twice.
There's like gassium or some shit.
Gassium. That's our guess. Gassium.
Pretty close. Gasoline.
Gasoline.
Because after all, guys, it is Star Wars.
That also could exist in Mad Max.
Gotta go to the temple to get some gasoline.
All right. Now you guys, although we're coming out of that with 3 points each, now you guys are competing against each other. And this one is specifically for this fantastic grouping of people. Since we last quote, these are going to be 10 questions. These are quotes from Star Wars projects that came out after we put out our sequel Storm of Spoilers Star Wars special, December 11th, 2019. So nothing from before December 11th, 2019, all after. These are quotes.
Only in the last 15, 20 years. Got it.
It's only since we were all like so much younger, when Neil had no facial hair whatsoever. So these are each worth a possible 2 points. 1 point for the character. I'll also give you a point for the actor name.
Oh, God. Okay.
So,
but not the project, just the character and the actor name?
Just the character and the actor.
Okay.
Because some of the projects, like The Mandalorian, it needs to be from Mandalorian that aired after December 11th, 2019.
Okay.
Anyway, here we go. For instance, this episode aired on the December 27th, 2019. And this first question is going to go to Neil. Come on, baby, do the magic hand thing.
Oh, okay. So not obscure fuels anymore. Things I can actually get the answer to. Okay.
And baby, do the magic hand thing.
Yeah, come on, baby.
I
Do
know
the
this
magic
one.
hand thing. We could just get the baby to do the magic hand thing.
I mean, that's from The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. What was the character who said it, or the actor who played the character who said it? Or that's the Mandalorian, the actor who voiced the character who said it, because the Mandalorian gets wonky there sometimes.
Is that was she canceled by this time? Is that a Cara Dune?
Cara Dune is present.
Okay.
You could if
Can I
Neil's
steal?
done. I'm not going to give you steal points because we are trying to be slightly more kind here. But you can't answer if you.
No, Neil can keep guessing. I believe Neil can get it.
I mean,
if I have no chance of getting points, I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Okay, so then it's either Carl Weathers or Timothy Oliphant, right?
Carl Weathers is a point.
Oh, all right, cool.
Do you know Carl Weathers' character name?
Fuck no.
All right. Well, we will give Neil
Carl
1
Weathers
point.
Grief Karga, baby.
Grief
Karga.
Karga, that's right.
All right. Joanna.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We are not defined by what we lose. We are defined by what we survive. You've survived a lot.
You're going to give me the year that it came out?
I am not.
But why did you do it for the last one?
Because that was a really good example of the closest we got to December 11th, 2019 without actually crossing to before. Because that series, The Mandalorian, started in November 2019 and then ended. We knew there was a baby Yoda. We didn't know his name was Grogu. That's what 2019 was for us. And then Neil got sick with what was probably COVID, and then 2020 got weird.
Fine by what we lose. Fine.
I feel like this one's much later.
I could tell you it's from The Acolyte.
Okay. And do I get as many guesses as Neil got? Should I just start naming Acolyte characters' names?
I mean, if that is a strategy.
I think this is very optimistic. So I think this is the 3-hole punch Jackie Lon played by Daphne Keane.
That is an excellent guess, but it is Master Soul played by Lee Jung-jae.
Fuck. Okay.
Neil.
I would have got
Can't
that
say
one.
I remember
Probably
no
not.
Atten.
Atten.
What? Why is he getting such easier questions than I'm getting?
That's from the kids show. Not a kids show, but the show with the kids.
Yeah, but look, he just because he knows what show it's
the
Joanna.
pirate droid from the Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, well, what's that pirate droid's name? Or
voiced by Nick
it?
Frost.
All right, we got one.
I never miss a Nick Frost trivia
bullshit.
question.
This is deeply bullshit.
Finally.
Carl Weathers and Nick Frost, and I gotta do fucking Master Soul from Acolyte.
This is the results of a whole week of me just berating Dave for how poorly I was treated last week.
Okay.
I mean, it varies in difficulty here, but either way, Neil, do you want to take a guess at the character name?
I don't remember the character.
It's a treasure. It's a pirate reference. What's Captain Hook's first mate's name?
It's me. No,
and then
that's
make that droidy.
SM-33.
It is SM-33.
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
Are we being super nice to Neil? Is that Joanna? Is that a legitimate answer?
And now that yes, of course. Now that you're like giving Neil quotes that have like identifying parts of them, and I'm just getting vague positivisms.
Vague positivisms. All right, Joanna. I dated a Jawa for a while. They're quite furry, very furry.
Okay, I know this. This is Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a funny guest star on The Mandalorian, not a main actor. And
this guest star really likes Grogu.
oh, Amy Sedaris.
That is the actor, correct?
Halimoto?
That is the character name. That is
Sick.
2
Amazing.
for Joanna.
Sick.
Sick, dope, tight. All right. Neil,
Yeah.
I need to finish what Luke started.
Oh. Okay. Complaints retracted.
I need to finish what Luke started
Mm-hmm.
from something post 2019.
From something post December 11th, 2019.
Oh, so this could be from the movie that's on your t-shirt.
In theory, it could be, yes.
So this, I mean, I feel like this could be Ray Skywalker.
This is Ray Skywalker, both names perfect.
Played by Daisy Ridley.
Played by Daisy Ridley.
Would you
in The Rise of
take Ray
Skywalker.
Palpatine as an answer?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what? I will.
Ray
Because I'll give-
Skywalker, nay Palpatine.
Because here's a little peek ahead, Joanna. Neil's
Uh.
next question is from the Acolyte and is from one of the twins. If he could get either of the twins, I will give him credit for that.
Wait, there were twins?
See?
Fuck.
Here we go. Joanna,
Yeah.
I've watched many an Imperial officer make the same assumptions about the rebellion. Even I fell victim to the heroics of a single Jedi. Never again.
Okay. Even I fell victim to the heroics of a single Jedi. Never again. And we've done Acolyte, Mandalorian, Rise of Skywalker, Skeleton Crew. Is this Ahsoka? But can you say it again?
I've watched many an Imperial officer make the same assumptions about the rebellion. Even
Yeah.
I fell victim to the heroics of a single Jedi. Never again.
Would you say then is this Thrawn? Is this Admiral Thrawn?
This is Thrawn. That's 1
And
point.
that is Lars Mikkelsen.
That is Lars Mikkelsen. That's 2 points.
That's the blue guy, right?
That is the blue guy.
Got it.
See, the right people are getting the right quotes. Just because it started off a little choppy.
That one was pure process of elimination. We haven't done an Ahsoka quote yet.
Well, I'm glad that you stalled for time because I did sort of tell Neil one of the answers sort of to this. I had to lose a lot of myself to become a Jedi, even if I didn't know it at the time. Neil, who said that was the actor's name?
Is that from The Acolyte?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the twins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm remembering that there were the twins. And I know that Amanda Stenberg played both of them.
That's a 1.
Fuck if I remember their names, though. I don't know. Oh, God, I really should remember the one that, like, had such a hot, flirty time with Manny Jacinto and The Mask. But I do not. I'm so sorry. They should renew that show so I can remember the characters.
This is May while she's disguised as OSHA, which is why I would have given you both.
Wow, that is evil. I would have said OSHA, but okay.
Well, it's easy to remember OSHA's name because they have her do the outside space jobs that only a droid would do otherwise. So it's otherwise
OSHA.
it's
I know the difference between May and OSHA. I'm just saying that sounds like OSHA. What you just gave him was May pretending to be OSHA.
Yeah.
And he had to remember that it was May, not OSHA, who said that.
I said I would have given him credit for either of them because I acknowledge that it's Trixie.
That's hard.
And I just barely remember that there were twins on that show.
Also, if you go back, a lot of May's most memorable lines are like in response to Kamir, so it just would have made things difficult. I tried. Mandela Stenberg. I apologize. All right, here's a log one, Joanna, that maybe helps. I was living in a hole in the ground, and a Jedi found me. She may have been desperate and ragged like me, but she told me I had potential. And that was, well, she only taught me a little before they hunted her down, and they made me watch whilst they killed her. That's the galaxy. It's dark with a few pinpricks of light. And for those, I'll kill who I need to kill.
Yeah. That is Jude Law.
Boom.
Skeleton Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how is this fair? He has like 15 names on that show.
Yeah. Captain Silver. Like
Sure,
Captain Solo. Okay.
that'll work. Jod Na would have also worked. I think that's how we canonically left him.
Yeah.
Excellent. That ties you up with Neil once again. Neil, look, pal, I'm sure you call the shots where you come from, but around here, I'm the one who tells folks what to do. We haven't seen this man for hundreds of days.
I know that.
Hundreds of days?
Yeah.
I really feel like I'm helping Neil by my banter. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, that's the Timothy Oliphant guy.
Hey,
from The Mandalorian.
That's one point.
That totally gave it away.
What is the Timothy Oliphant's character's name?
Oh, he's got a fun name. What was it? No, it wasn't Cal something. It was a real cowboy ass name. I don't know. I don't remember Timothy Oliphant's name from The Mandalorian. It's been too many hundreds of days.
It has been 1,230 days since we last saw Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth. MIA.
1,230 days.
I mean, he's out there somewhere.
He's still in the back to tank.
All right, Joanna, this is the final question of this round. First Order took most of the kids a long time ago. Can't stand the cries anymore. I've saved up enough to get out. I'm going to the colonies.
First Order. Okay, so it's got to be Rise of Skywalker. Wait, when did we record? Okay, you nodding. Okay. First Order took the kids. Can't stand the cries anymore. Going to the colonies. Can't stand the cries anymore. Is that what's her fucking?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, she never takes off her mask, so who knows for sure? But I'm told.
Oh, that gives it away.
Oh, okay. I can do this. Aaron Kellerman and Fist Nest.
No.
Damn it. Oh, fucking Carrie Russell.
Yep.
Oh. What the hell is Carrie Russell's character?
She got her own Fortnite skin for this character. I know that.
Oh my God. Sorry. And Fist Nest is obviously from Solo Star Wars Story, an incredible film that should get a sequel. What is Carrie Russell's character's name in
she's such good friends with Babu Frick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I can't remember Carrie Russell.
Can't believe I actually know this one.
Character's name in
Neil.
Rise of Skywalker.
Zori Bliss.
This is Zori Bliss.
Zori Bliss.
She takes her mask down like a quarter of the way.
I got
so that you
so
know that it's Carrie Russell's face.
Because have you guys seen? Well, you've seen 28 Years Later, and you know how Aaron Kellerman shows up at the end, and I was like, good old Memphis Nest. I was just thinking this morning, I'm like, good old Memphis Nest. Here she is again. So that addled my brain.
We were talking on it on an adventure pod, and I'm like, finally justice for the Flag Smashers, maybe in the Bone Collector, but we'll see. All right, this is this week's drafter pass. So Katie, we played this with Katie, where Katie was trying to keep the Jedi and give Neil the non-Jedi. So how it's going to work this week is I'm going to read Joanna 6 droids and Neil 6 droids. Joanna, you want to draft. You want to keep what I'm calling the beeps and boops. These droids communicate by beeping and booping. They do not speak basic.
Okay.
Neil, you want the droids that speak basic or English.
Sure.
But we could understand them.
But not Ghorman, which is French.
Gorm,
sorry.
Spoiler alert, there's not a droid that speaks Gore on here, so we're saved from that. Although, I believe there's not a droid on here that I'm trying to end around you with like it speaks Huttese. They either speak like droid binary or they speak basic.
But they speak like all the languages, like what's his name?
Yes, that is also possible. So Joanna, team beeps and boops, Neil, team basic. Here we go. Joanna, what do you do with BB-8?
Oh, I'm keeping BB-8.
Keep BB-8. Love to see it.
Although he does know how to say "wee." Those are almost words. I've met
Joanna,
babies.
I don't know if you played Knights of the Old Republic, but HK-47.
I'm keeping HK-47.
You're going to keep HK-47. Next we have B1 battle droids. The Phantom Menace, the battle droids.
I'm passing on those.
You are passing on the battle droids. Next we have MSE-6 droids. These could be found on the Death Star in Star Wars A New Hope.
I'm keeping him.
Keeping the MSE-6 droids.
Those little trash can guys.
Oh, the mic.
2-1B medical droids, Joanna.
I'm gonna pass.
I'm gonna pass that around. And then Joanna, once again, from a video game, BD1.
Is that Cal Kestis droid?
Tis.
I want to go back and pass on that other one I said. I'm keeping BD.
You keeping the BD1.
Like, can we go back to HK whatever it was?
HK-47? Would you like to give HK-47 to Neil?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Neil. BB9E.
I think I need to pass that one.
Gonna pass it on.
It's just a different BB-8 version.
That is correct. It's
a dark evil one.
Evil BB-8.
Evil BB-8.
You do have some mirrors here of what was going on with Joanna, because your second one is B2 battle droids. These are the big ones. They go. We saw them in The Mandalorian. These are the ones that attacked Baby Mandalorian.
I'm gonna pass on those. I think those are scarier bleeps and boops, but bleeps and boops nonetheless.
All right, Neil, first appearing in The Phantom Menace, pit droids.
Pit droids.
That's what they're called.
Oh, from pod racing.
Yes.
I'm gonna pass. Those guys just make a lot of incoherent sounds.
Neil also appearing for the first time in The Phantom Menace, droidicas. The roly-poly dudes with the shields.
That's what I thought. The battle.
Do those speak?
They do, but it is very hard to notice.
Why? Did you just give an answer?
I think I've heard those say words.
I took like, did they speak like, because I had the same question was, did we ever see a droidica like say anything, beep, boop, whatever in the thing? Because
probably
you definitely know some rolling,
right?
I don't want to tell you where you see these things happen.
I'm gonna draft them. I'm gonna say that I've heard them say words.
All right, you've heard them say words. All right, 000. This is one of Dr. Aphra's droids from the comics.
This feels like a trick question because it being from the comics would lead you to believe that, oh, maybe they speak dialogue because comics. But I think comic writers like putting in bleeps and bloops into their comics too. So I'm gonna pass.
All right. And then your final one, I know you know about this one because we talked about it way back when we were both playing Star Wars Outlaws. Sure. So the one specific droid called Mr. Bones.
Mr. Bones?
Mr. Bones.
Oh, is that the dealer guy? He speaks words.
So you want to keep Mr. Bones?
I'm pretty sure. Right. I'm pretty sure that's the dealer of the Sabacc games, if I remember correctly. Probably not, though.
So we are going through Team Joanna. We get 1 point for beeps. We get -1 point for any basic team droids that she got left with. We got BB-8 beeps, MSE-6 mouse droids beeps, BD-1 beeps, BB-9E beeps. B2 battle droids that Neil passed on, they actually speak basic. So down to 3. Pit droid, beeps, boom. And for 000, Neil said he thinks that sounds like beeps. He does not. He speaks basic. So Joanna comes out with a total of 3 points. Neil, B1 battle droids, basic. Yes. Roger, Roger. 211B medical droids, basic. Yeah, they got to stitch up Luke after Hoth and then give him.
Did I do this incorrectly? I thought I was supposed to keep all the beep and the boop droids, right?
You did, yes. And you did successfully keep all the beep and the boop droids. Neil gave you 2 basic droids to take away points.
But is that why he did it, or did he do it just because he got it wrong? And he gave me he just got it wrong, and I got punished for him getting it wrong.
What a weird trivia game!
I'm for whatever
to
gets
only
me the
benefit
points.
the person doing the trivia.
What the fuck is this? I got it all right, and I get stuck with 3. And I gave him all talking droids.
Honestly, should have really rethought my strategy on this and just gave you all the wrong ones.
I know. What the fuck?
The sad thing is Neil gets another round of draft and pass next week, and Joanna just got punished. But again, I'm
sure the rules will
host.
change by next week. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true. Neil, B1 battle droids, Roger, Roger. 2-1 medical droids, they talk basic. HK-47, Joanna was right to pass it off. That guy talks basic, very cheeky. Droidica, he beeps and boops. Those beep and boop to each other. They speak a little mumbly droid. Then Mr. Bones, he speaks basic. So you also come out with 3. It's a wash once again. As we head out of Draft or Pass. Draft or Pass really levels the playing field. But you know what else levels the playing field? You guys, it's 13-13. All right, here's a trial by content style category.
Oh.
This is called It's Gonna Be May. All the Star Wars movies before Disney bought them were released in May. I'm going to give you a list of 3 movies released the same year as a Star Wars movie. You have to tell me which was the other movie that played against that Star Wars release in May. For instance, Neil, first question. What movie was also in theaters May 1977 and played against Star Wars? Is it A, The Spy Who Loved Me? B, Smokey and the Bandit, or C, Pete's Dragon?
1977. Where was I?
Where was half of Neil and the other half of Neil?
Feels like it really could be Pete's Dragon, but that also feels like a trick. I'm going to say Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit is correct. Released in May 1977.
Hell yeah.
Nice one, Neil.
Feels
Joanna,
like a spring, late spring, early summer movie. They weren't summer movies back then.
I just don't know what they were doing in 77 in terms of strategy.
Yeah. I mean, this is pre-blockbuster in theory.
I mean, Smokey and the Bandit did really, really well. Do you think it got like a Star Wars bump? Or did Star Wars get a Smokey and the Bandit? No, Star Wars gave Smokey and the Bandit a bump.
It actually is. It's an era where anything driving more people to movie theaters just meant more people were milling about in the movie theater. So
people show up. Star Wars sold out. They're like, Sally Field's so cute. I love her. I'll watch it. Yeah, amazing.
I think that does sort of help. I do especially think in the early Star Wars movies could have helped something that had legs. All I tried to look up was if I could find one reported instance of the 2 movies actually playing together, so these questions would be accurate. I didn't necessarily check how much they helped each other, but let's see how it goes. Joanna, what movie was also in theaters May 1980 and played against The Empire Strikes Back? Was it A, 9 to 5, B, Popeye, or C, The Shining?
Quick question. Did these all come out in 1980 and only one of them played in May?
Correct.
Okay, that's really hard.
Well, it's not as hard for 1999, but I admit it's very hard for 1980.
The Shining.
The Shining is correct.
Ooh.
We're a 1-1 after 2 questions. All right. Neil, what movie was also in theaters May 1983 and played against Return of the Jedi? Was it Blue Thunder, Flashdance, or Jaws 3D?
What's Blue Thunder?
That's the Roy Schneider steers the helicopter movie.
Oh, I don't know that movie.
Oh, we should watch Blue Thunder together sometime. What a ridiculous helicopter movie.
Okay, Blue Thunder, Flashdance. What was the third one?
Jaws 3D.
Oh, Jaws 3D. That's a tough one. Although I think even then they were putting Jaws movies closer to 4th of July.
That's
still.
where I would put it.
Yeah, so I'm going to eliminate that one. Blue Thunder also feels kind of like a summer movie at that point, because at that point, summer movies were starting to be a thing. I'm going to say Flashdance.
The answer is Blue Thunder.
Ah, damn.
Flashdance was April. So, like, yeah.
Oh. So
bit
close.
by bit.
That's mean. Genuinely very mean. Okay.
Well, it was like April 1st. I tried to get it as clear as possible from old Return of the Jedi, which was, I believe, the 23rd of May. Anyway, not important. What is important is this question for Joanna. What movie was also in theaters May 1999 and played against The Phantom Menace? Was it The Rage, Carrie 2, Notting Hill, or Dudley Do-Right starring Brendan Fraser?
Notting Hill.
It was Notting Hill.
You're right.
Perfect counter programming.
Neil, what movie was also in theaters May 2002 and played against Attack of the Clones? Was it John Q with Denzel, Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams with future Book of Boba Fett director Robert Rodriguez, or The 13th Warrior of John McTiernan's? I mean, a very serious John McTiernan movie.
I don't think it was Spy Kids. No one would be dumb enough to program. Spy Kids did well at the box office, if I recall correctly, so it would not be playing against Star Wars. I'm going to guess The 13th Warrior. It sounds like someone who... sounds like a movie that'd be dumb enough to open against Star Wars. At that point.
13th Warrior is correct.
Nice.
Probably actually directed by Michael Crichton. But, you know, who knows how that all went.
I like that movie. I like 13th Warrior.
I do like it. The scene where they're like, where he's learning how to speak Viking by like listening to him talk around the campfire. Just like a really good linguistic scene. All right, last one from this category. It's all tied up 2-2. So Joanna, maybe you could push ahead here. What movie was also in theaters May 2005 and played against Revenge of the Sith? Was it Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Crash, or Corpse Bride?
Corpse Bride. Diary. I mean, if it were me, I would put Corpse Bride at Halloween. If it were me, I would put Crash in Oscar season. So I'm gonna say Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
The answer is Crash.
Crash. Okay.
What? Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I would
I
have
know,
guessed that
it's
Crash would
crazy.
have been later in the year, like post Toronto, post Venice sort of thing. Or at least post Cannes, which was in May.
So we are, I don't know how this
Tied?
is happening. Still all tied.
Wow.
15-15 this round.
What's up, Neil?
Finally, some competition.
This last one is 6 questions.
Wait, finally some competition, meaning finally someone who sucks. In the same.
Finally, Dave has tweaked it to the point where I am not getting killed.
Okay.
I think I tweaked it to be fair, which is now not also making people happy. It's, again, that's why I prioritize my own happiness.
I'm not mad about anything except for the draft thing, which punished me for being right.
Being punished for being right is like a very frustrating tactic I've learned from watching Game Changer on Dropout. It's just what I think to do to your players.
Yeah, but you're no Sam. You know what I mean? Like that, you can't get away
You're
with
right.
it.
My dad wasn't part of an administration ever. Very true. All right. All these questions have to do with Cloud City. Neil, Cloud City is in the sky of what planet?
Bespin?
It is in the sky of Bespin +1 Neil.
Hell yeah.
Were you reading the Wikipedia entry for Cloud City today?
No, I'm just a big Lando guy.
Joanna, the planet of Bespin is in what sector?
What the fuck?
This is said out loud by Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back. It's like one of my core childhood memories.
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
The Anowat sector.
Fuck you.
Great to have you back. In Empire Strikes Back, who arrives at Cloud City first, Neil? Leia and Lando, Luke, or Darth Vader?
Wait, are Leia and Lando and Luke and Darth Vader the two options here, or is it
3 up?
Sorry, Leia and Lando combo 1 because they're together for all Empire Strikes Back.
right? And then Luke, and then Vader,
and then Darth Vader. And they all end up at Cloud City at one point.
I think Luke is there first.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Not at
You're
all.
wrong.
He's in Dagobah. He's like, I gotta go save my friends.
damn it.
And Yoda's like, don't go.
Darth Vader arrives first. Or in the words of Lander, I'm sorry he showed up right before you did. All right. Joanna, what is the most recent canonical Star Wars movie to feature Cloud City?
Star Wars movie?
Mm-hmm.
Canonical Star Wars movie to feature Cloud City. Movie. Did it show up? I mean, they probably cut to it in the sequel trilogy. Was there like galaxy-wide celebration? Let's say Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker is correct.
Okay.
They are seen celebrating after what is, I guess, called the Battle of Exegol. What great cinema, right?
Sure.
Love that movie.
Someone became all the Jedi that day.
Someone did become all the Jedi that day. Neil, what was the name?
What sector is?
That's okay. He's going to have a hard time with this one. Neil, what was the name of the mobile game that told the story of the uprising against the Imperials' Iron Blockade that was attempting to conceal the news of the second Death Star's destruction and the Emperor's apparent death from the denizens of Cloud City?
The mobile game?
Mm-hmm. What was the name of the mobile game?
Oh, I don't know. Was it Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? That's the only mobile game I can remember at the moment.
That one's still going. This one, unfortunately, is canceled. It was called Star Wars Uprising because it is about an uprising.
Not successful enough to hit my radar.
All right. We're going to be all tied up at the end of this game unless Joanna knows the answer to this question.
Hell yeah.
Wilro Hood is seen evacuating with his Camp Tono. The in-world name for a device we'd call a what?
Ice cream maker.
An ice cream maker.
Yes.
Foiled by an ice cream maker again. Story of my
I was
life.
sitting here thinking the only thing I know about Cloud City is it has that fucking ice cream maker in it. Oh, I'm thrilled. I take back anything I said about any other question you asked.
So I believe that Joanna wins by 1 point, 17 to 16. And we will continue moving on.
What a delight.
With
maybe I'll actually win
guests.
one. I got so much closer this time.
You got really close. You did a great job, I thought.
I got another week of berating Dave, but I was still treated very unfairly by the fake news moderator.
Here's the thing about fake news moderator. I think these are pitch perfect segments. Anyway, Joanna, it's fantastic to have you back in like a house you own the third of. But where could people find more of your work around the internet?
You can find me crying over the fact that I don't get to podcast with you guys on a weekly basis. But what a joy and a delight to be here with you this week. Thank you for having me.
All right, Neil, we are back. I'm sorry to do that to you, bud, but I have some good news.
Okay.
Because Joanna only beat you by 1 and Katie Rich beat you by 7, you're only 8 points behind the guests moving forward into the back half of these trivia sections.
We're making progress toward
You're making excellent progress.
winning one of the 4 weeks.
I'm just surprised that after all of my machinations to maybe be meaner to you or nicer to you or mean to Joanna. You guys tied. What a world. Well, I mean, almost tied.
What a delight. Also, congratulations to that person who left us the Apple Podcast review last week, asking for the porch scene where Joanna and I podcast together again. 1 week and we delivered. Amazing. Yeah.
We really, I mean, you guys might be the MVPs of the BBY this week because we got good old Joanna to come back and do 40 minutes worth of trivia. But if you're still around, I'm guessing you want to talk about Andor episodes 4, 5, and 6. These are Ever Been to Ghorman, I Have Friends Everywhere, and What a Festive Evening. They were all written by Beau Willimon, and they were directed by Ariel Kleiman. Again, Neil, we were just talking. Remind me how we know Beau Willimon.
Well, I was pretty sure he was the House of Cards guy, so I looked him up, and he is in fact was the showrunner of House of Cards after David Fincher, very notably, sort of set the tone for what that series was going to be. But he developed it, and then he also did, and we all know how that turned out with Kevin Spacey, the whole Kevin Spacey of it all. And then he did this. I remember the Sean Penn show, The First, on Hulu, a Hulu streaming exclusive that I don't think anybody watched. I am like the target audience for this as well, right? Like I generally like the writing on House of Cards and also like space stuff, as we will continue to discuss as this episode goes on, and watched maybe 10 minutes of The First and was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to see Sean Penn go to Mars. So that's where Beau Willimon has been, since. But here he is finally on a show where the lead actor is not a weirdo, as far as we know. He's just extremely handsome.
Yes. And I don't need to know anything else because it is extremely handsome is working for me.
Yep.
But yeah, this episode is a super interesting arc, I think, for the things that not only do we get to talk about some really expensive looking television over these 3 episodes, like not the cornfields weren't expensive, but completely different vibe in the dollars here as we enter Ghorman.
This is a good place to mention that I was watching the behind the scenes episode that Disney Plus put out. What are they called? The Declassified, or
that sounds correct.
Whatever their little branding is for the Star Wars ones. So I was watching the one about this episode, and they built the entire Ghorman city square on the back lot in Pinewood, and it's incredible how much. I mean, both the size and sort of scale of the set that they built, and how much detail is in it, but also when you're going back and watching these episodes of the season, realizing how much utility they got out of that single build of that set, like how much of the story, especially from like this point forward, takes place in and around that square, that town square. Yeah. So it's, extremely expensive, but also efficiently putting the money on screen. I would say this is a very expensive, but not wasteful Star Wars experience.
Yeah, I was I don't know how deep the hotel goes, but definitely the cafe and definitely the House of Rylands, just like right off the square in a way that those sets seem to be just there. They're just there right off the square, so you could get the square in the background, so you could populate that with some extras. A fantastic memorial to the Legends Ghorman massacre that has now been renamed the Tarkin massacre as it's reached canon, but like some fantastic production here. And that's not even before we get to the sort of dichotomy, I think, of Coruscant, where we have Bix trying to lay low in some of the, grimy safe house locations. And then on the other side, we have Mon Mothma attending basically peacocking parties over for the Imperial Senate. But some fantastic work even before we talk about what actually happens in the episode. Neil, what storyline do you want to start with first? If we were to talk about these 3 episodes and what they do to like our sort of bands of rebels.
Ooh, good question. Why don't we start where these 3 episodes end?
Okay.
Which is with Bix Colleen. Because I mentioned the fact that this show stars a very handsome man, Diego Luna. But I was also just sort of noting this week that it's very easy for the medicine of complex political drama to go down, where episodes that don't have a ton of action, not a lot for ILM. I mean, a lot of great set extensions, but not a lot of like space violence with pew pews and
yes, that's true.
Starships for ILM to do in these episodes. But that medicine goes down so much easier when your 2 leads are like maybe the hottest humans who have ever lived. So let's start with Bix. And also, I guess this is a good place because, Bix's story is obviously interlinked with Cassian's. But I think a lot of these 3 episodes is about their relationship and his ability to support her through the processing of her various traumas that she's experienced, just in the context of what we've seen in the show. One of which she gets some pretty awesome revenge for. Very proud of her.
Yeah, I was having a weird time watching these episodes live the first time with like Bix because I was like, this, it
seemed to be going down a bad road for like 98% of the storyline, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, good husband status confirmed for Cassian.
Oh yeah, well I think it's after the break in between 4 and 5 where she's just like drug blissing out, watching for like a light to turn on and off and not having a great time in Coruscant. And I was like, please, let's not be like, and next year, Bix, had to go to rehab or something. I was looking too far ahead in the story and I was like, please don't waste this character, because I think it's good to have a tortured war trauma character. It does feel weird that for like the first 4 episodes, Andor season 2 is very hard on Bix.
Sure.
She's trapped in Mina Rao. She is like the victim of an assault. Now she comes here and she's like so deep into the torture that she received at the end of season 1 that she is sort of like drugging out in the safe house while Andor runs missions. Now, in the greater arc, having seen the series, I do appreciate what Bix and Andor's connection says about both of the characters. I think I was thinking too individual, just because Cassian is going out and doing more of the missions and wants to maybe keep Bix safe. I do think the tension of when he confronts Luthen, both about wanting to keep Bix safe and when he's not ready to sort of like allow the Ghormans to put themselves in more danger. I think that tension is very interesting. And I think the way that it resolves at the end of these 3 episodes with, Bix getting a fitting revenge and walking away from an explosion hero moment where she gets to lead this episode out of Cassian makes a lot more sense to me, because I think this episode does show the problem with, like being in love and being in a rebellion.
Sure.
Which was seeded last week. But here, even when they're together, it feels like they're apart. And that's the price you pay for being a soldier in a rebellion.
Yeah. I mean, it's the reason why James Bond or any other spy in spy stuff doesn't have attachments, because it's clearly very difficult to be a clandestine agent for a growing rebellion and have a home life. So, but especially a home life where you have someone who needs support, in processing their trauma and blowing up at least one floor of an office building.
Yeah. I'm glad that Cassian is finally able to accept that, Bix needs something to do and sort of sets up this this revenge thing. I think that's a smart acceptance, because I feel like at both there are periods of time the first time I was watching this episode where I'm like, is Luthen going to kill one or both of these characters? Like attempts to kill Cassian Andor or Bix. And I think they both feel it at some point in this episode. But I was very, very happy with everybody's growth, even though I don't necessarily like making one character's entire hour and a half beat. I have trauma from last season.
Sure.
I think that's a little tough.
Sure. I mean, I think that's fair. Let me ask you this silly question. Yeah. So Bix assumes that in the scene where Luthen comes to visit her, that he was going to ask her to do a mission. Do we believe that? And if so, what mission do you think he was going to have her do? Do you think he was going to have her do the Skulden antique collection stealing, or was she going to go to Ghorman, or what do you think? Like if she would have given him the vibes, like I'm ready to go back out into the field.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would almost think that the mission was always something to do with Dr. Gorst. He was just wanted to see if she was like ready for it yet.
Oh, okay.
And he needed to sort of like snap it in. Well, because I imagine there has to be like some background to tracking this guy. There is like sort of a background story going on in these 3 episodes where like right at the beginning at the ISB, Lonnie's like, we're taking in too many people and like interrogation isn't working. And like Patagartz is like, well, I'm going to talk to the Emperor about this, like me and you, Laren, and we're going to like speed it up. So the fact that they brought like the interrogation guy back to Coruscant means that like maybe he's being moved around. They're about to deploy him to a new type of interrogation, and it does benefit whatever Lonnie is leaking to Luthen. It would benefit them to have the guy with the genocide recordings maybe out of play at this exact moment. So I'd like to think it was always that. I don't know if she would be better if she went instead of Vel to Ghorman. I don't know if that would have drawn Cassian back or if that would have enforced Cassian being there. That might be helpful.
I think my thought would be the antique, taking the listening device off the antique.
Oh yeah,
instead of Clea, because I feel like Luthen would want to keep Clea out of harm's way, right? Because of her extreme competence at the communications game, right? Like she's not a piece that you want to put in the field often because you need her to keep things in check and basically be the person who runs the show. So that could have been a Bix thing. But then again, Clea was very, very well suited for that mission, it turned out.
Yeah, I would have been surprised, given of who's in that room when she's removing it, if Bix could have gotten in. Like, they would have had to given her some sort of crazy cover.
Yeah.
Or like, that's Skulden's, trophy room. And Mon Mothma is basically only there because their kids got married. Like, Skulden is not on the rebellion side, which is why Krennic is there. So like, I don't think there's any world where someone who was on Ferrix like gets in the same room as Krennic until Rogue One. But who knows? Maybe Bix is a little more wily than we're giving her credit for. I am interested in, had these been entire seasons like we talked about last week, if we would have seen more of Cassian and Bix doing work up to this point before they like get into the safe house. Because I think that'd be fun. I think there's a lot of steps here that can be hinted in, and should we decide we want more Cassian Andor, like any type of Star Wars, there are enough gaps where fun stories could be told.
Sure.
So I'm happy that, at least we get to see the conclusion of Bix's story, even though I think it wraps up a little quickly. Luckily, this isn't the last time we see her. So I'm happy with this move forward as we're halfway through season 2 of Andor.
Yep.
All right, I want to talk about Cyril.
Ooh, Mr. False Flag.
Mr. False Flag. Yeah, I have Cyril Contel Pros as a talking point here, which is a reference to the FBI pulling some counterintelligence things. I know it recently, Neil. I don't know if you were aware, but Denver George Floyd protests in 2020 got successfully Contel Pro'd.
Oh, interesting.
Where there was an FBI agitator. This was proved by a podcast called The Alphabet Boys, of course, talking about FBI, CIA, what have you. But the FBI had somebody inside of the leftist protest movements encouraging them to buy guns and commit violence. You might have heard about this a lot if you live in America, this sort of idea of an outside agitator. And especially in, I think, every serious rebel movement or any resistance movement, there's always the push and pull between these like calls for violence from an outside agitator versus what is the next step. And I think what we really see here in this Ghorman storyline is the Ghorman front, for our video podcast listeners, are really like right at that point where they are so scared they're moving a little bit faster, but they are susceptible to all sorts of outside agitators. The real one, which is Cyril, who's working against them, and Andor, who is like, you guys accepted me way too fast for me to even think that you're ready. And they basically say, like, yeah, we're desperate. So it's been interesting. It was interesting to rewatch these episodes, given a lot of the conversation I've been seeing about, like, say, you're no kings protests that are happening in America, or any sort of protest where someone is grasping for the new step. Luthen is looking at Ghorman as like a possible new front line to open up against the Empire, and he's willing to sacrifice the entire society basically to draw attention to it. But he's not going to, necessarily let them go quietly, because he is in favor of sort of like robbing the shipment as a way of kicking off a more visible resistance or rebellion that eventually is going to make the Ghorman front targets. I love that we spent 90 minutes of Star Wars talking about this, because you know what? I don't even know what my opinion is about this in the real world. It's constantly fluctuating.
Sure.
Like, this isn't a great time in America to be on the side of political violence. That feels wrong. It is very dangerous for lots of people. And you know what? If we turn to political violence, we are not the strong party, the resistance party. So that is always very scary. But then there's also people who are like, don't spray paint resistance things on private property. And I'm like, that's not violence. That's property damage.
That's just property damage. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, first of all, yeah, I think it's great that we spend 90 minutes of Star Wars dealing with this. And so explicitly too. And I think it's interesting because it shows sort of the struggle of how do you keep the rebellion going when you know that these things are out there, when you know that there are, whether it's like somebody who just wants to exhibit wrecker behavior, right? Someone who's just like trolling your movement, or literally like Cyril, beware the quiet ones, or beware the newbie who wants to take things to the next level. Actual government agents. How do you keep moving forward, even if these things are out there, and ultimately achieve, right? Because like we're watching a Star Wars thing, so we know that in this version of the story, the Viet Cong defeat the Imperials.
Yes, we have a farm boy wizard who right now could be running to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters, but this farm boy wizard's gonna really swoop in.
Yeah.
In like the final 24 hours.
The rebellion gets pretty far with the farm boy wizard. But like you can't just stop right? Just because there is the threat of being infiltrated by someone who's going to cause problems. So it's about being able to recognize it. And, I think we see the Ghormans, setting themselves up for not having a pretty bad time overall, I would say. Specifically in the case of the dude that ends up shooting Cinta, he's going to have some bad times forever. And more broadly for their movement, because, as you pointed out, Andor is very right that like they were a little too easy to bring him into the fold. And I think his concerns are valid, but again, that doesn't seem to matter to Luthen.
And I don't want to say that
he needs propaganda for
exactly
to fuel the fires of revolution around the galaxy, which again is pretty wide. They're trying to cast a rebellion over a pretty wide net of an entire galaxy. So I understand it to a certain extent. I personally would not sacrifice an entire planet and society worth of people. But that's just me. I'm, I guess, not as revolutionary as Luthen Rail.
Well,
maybe I'm just more of a pacifist.
I mean, I see where both of the versions are the responsible thing, because Andor is right. And maybe the most chilling thing about watching these episodes again is his sort of idea, like they're too late. And if they're too late, then what? And he's like, you're too late. You have to like bide your time and wait. And Luthen is completely on the side of just like, we need any action we can get now.
Mm-hmm.
He has that scene with Lonnie, I think in episode 4, where Lonnie's like, you used to tell me to wait. And he's like, we're far past that now.
Right.
Like everything's just go, go, go. And I see the logic in both, because even from the Ghorman front, this ragtag group of rebels, they try to do it. They try to get Dad to send somebody. He sends somebody. That guy seems to not want to help them, but immediately Dad sends somebody else, and they're like, okay, we're doing it tomorrow. Like, I could see where the Ghorman rebels see, like, how are they supposed to know that they're falling into a trap? They're trying to get help. They got advice from several places. They just didn't know that the chess game has moved above their heads at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and to his credit, Cyril is very good at this. Like, he's very good at just sort of sliding in to the situation and, or I guess, earning their trust. I don't know. It happens so quick. I guess he presents himself to the Ghorman front as such an immediate, like, useful idiot.
Yeah.
Inside the ISB. Well, I guess he works at the Bureau of Standards, right? Which I guess is technically
he works
different.
at the Bureau of Standards. Yes,
It's
he's
all the
been
Empire.
recruited.
It's all the Empire's machine, and but it's a great performance on his part. He's well trained and well handled by his good husband, Deirdre.
Yes. We've got both the good husbands to check in on.
Yeah, this week I joke, this is like, especially the second episode, right, where Cassian spends a lot of time at home with Bix. I'm like, this is the good husband check-in. Like, this is very much the episodes that feel the most so far. We'll keep an eye on this as we go into the back half of the season, that feel very much about the two like central romantic relationships of the series, which is, Cassian Bix and Deirdre and Cyril, which I think theirs is fun because it's so awkward. They're so bad at it. But yeah, it's also, for some reason, yielding amazing results at work. Like, Cyril's on the rise.
Cyril's like, if I say this is the greatest moment of my life, but I spoil everything, and you can see Deirdre be like, oh, you just said it, and yes, but she's just like,
yeah.
It's good to see you happy.
Sure.
Just like you poor fascists.
Also,
you just have no idea.
He's such an idiot. The greatest moment of his life is when she told off his mother.
Yes.
Like, what the hell, man? They're so bad at this, but I like it. I like the dichotomy of it, right? Because I think Cassian and Bix have a very healthy relationship for the most part. I mean, given the circumstances of their lives and their chosen profession, I think they're doing pretty well. And you know, Deirdre and Cyril kind of bad at the relationship, although they don't seem to be fading apart in any way. But it's very productive, I will say.
Yeah, they've got some aligned goals. I especially like that meeting between Cyril and Deirdre and Partagaz, where it's obvious that Cyril has just like been waiting to report to like this high ISB official, and he's just like, "Oh, Cyril, you're here comes the report from little chicken little dummy over here with his high forehead."
He's wanted to be in this room so bad, though.
Yeah, and Cyril is like incapable of seeing that like everybody's looking at him as sort of like the runt of the litter. So it doesn't surprise me that he's. I don't know what he thinks the end game of this is. Just like information, he's just gonna have all of the information on the rebels. He's gonna know who they are. He's gonna know where they're gonna strike before it's important, because he doesn't know they're gonna strip mine the planet at this point, and that's why.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know the larger plan for Ghorman, but I mean, I think, who knows? I mean, maybe he thinks he's uncovering maybe he thinks he's still working on Axis. You know, they're still uncovering the larger rebellion by infiltrating this piece of it. Which, I mean, he's not entirely wrong. Like, this part of the rebellion is involved with Luthen and Cassian. So, like, if he's ever going to, if they're going to ever, you know, figure out who those dudes are, this would be one way in for sure.
Yeah.
They are friends.
While we're on Ghorman, let's follow it all the way through. Vel gets sent in as the backup, and she readily agreed to it because it means she gets to be paired up with Cinta again. They haven't seen each other in quite a long time, but do get to pair up and have at least one last good night together before a guy whose name is just Sam. It's Sam with 2 M's. That's how they Star Wars it up. But Sam is the name of the guy who blasters Cinta accidentally.
Rough stuff.
Damn it, Sam. I was having an internal debate, and I'm going to bring it externally here. There is a trope called kill your gays, which comes about like having gay characters prominently featured on your television show, but also they're the first ones to die. They're not the exact first ones to die. R.I.P. Brasso from last episode, but
and everybody in season 1.
Yeah, they are very notably the gay couple who hooks up and then one of them dies in like a sacrificial way that I do think is important, but I always have my hackles up for like a possible kill your gays or a fridging. Did this happen with Vel and Cinta for you, or am I overreacting and just war is just fucking insane? Like, why am I applying it like it's a social interaction?
I mean, it definitely happened. I mean, listen, Disney's track record with this, specifically with Star Wars, is not great. So you're not going to get away from this discussion until you make like a really super gay Star Wars thing. I'm sorry. But like, you can't, it may not be the way it was intended, like in the writer's room. Do I believe like Tony Gilroy was like, we're going to kill some gays in this episode? No.
Do I believe Bo Willman was like, we're going to kill some gays?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
But I
do even think about it in those terms.
But I do think this is the thing that we keep thinking about with Star Wars, because of like, you know, they put a gay kiss in the background of one of their movies and we're like, look at the first gay kiss in Star Wars. And it's like, come on. I will say, though, it's funny because they get hit with the double trope gun, which is the like, don't be happy right before a big mission, you know, or like don't have sex the night before a big mission trope, you know, because one of you is about to die, which is tough. And that is, I think, a more relevant and important trope that the show wanted to play with, which is like, we've had these two characters, they've been apart for so long, they're finally coming back together, we're giving the audience what they want. They have this, they have some space gay sex, which is fantastic for them. We love to see it. And then a horrific way to go. Horrific in the sense that getting shot is getting shot either way, but horrific in the sense that it's like an accident and it lands with such a thud. And it's part of this sequence that is so cool. These like dueling spy missions going on at the same time, where we have this like really tense high wire scene between like the two biggest named like political maneuvering characters on the show, right? We got Mendelsohn and O'Reilly going at it while they're trying to take the listening device. And it's simultaneously, we've got this big heist sequence, and it's just it's so wonderfully calibrated in how mundane it is, that it's this accidental shooting that gets Cinta. So yeah, it's definitely a little kill your gaze, but also the larger point is don't be happy in one of these stories.
That's a good large point.
Don't be happy the night before a big mission.
To a certain extent, maybe this is a way to sort of like transition to talk about what Willman's doing this episode. But like, Saw Gerrera's episode 5 monologue is like, we're all dead. No, we're not getting to the other side of this. So why are we not all huffing fuel?
Sure.
And
we're the fuel anyway, so we might as well huff.
Yeah. And so I could see how that sort of feels. That's sort of where the rebellion's at right now, where it feels like, everybody who's this far into it is like probably dead. And that's how that, like, they're not going to live to see it. Like Luthen said in his monologue.
So I guess then it's a good thing that they got this moment to have this one night of connection before, because you never know when your partner, the galaxy's only partnership, is going to end. Yep.
Star Wars, you had a gay couple there for a hot second. No longer.
Sure, we're down to one gay in Star Wars. It's tough.
So Willman is off on a special assignment with Saw Gerrera to steal some Rhino, and also there's another infiltrator there because the Empire's infiltrating everywhere.
Sure.
But mostly what I thought about with this, besides just sort of like the nihilism on it, and I really do appreciate the like little lore bit that this is what Saw has been like huffing, because Saw Gerrera showed up on the Clone Wars TV show, had no problems with his breathing, shows up suddenly on like Rogue One, has been through some shit. Like what happened between A and B, this has sort of been like filling it in. There was some early on slavery that sort of like got him addicted to a fuel, which is crazy. But mostly when I was watching it, Willman's work that he's doing to sort of like open up the locks on the pipes to get the Rhino out.
I struggled to follow what that little device was doing, but it looked very complicated, and I don't know why each station was different. I guess it's like a vault door that opens up the flow of gas.
The only reason it got to me is this is how you learn to do Rubik's Cubes. Like you learn patterns and variations. So basically, if you watch people do like competitive Rubik's Cubing, they're allowed to look at it, and then they set it down, and then they pick it up and they solve it. But basically what you do is you're looking at it and you're seeing how you need to move the pieces, and then you've memorized the different twists to move like a corner piece to the opposite corner and like flip it around.
Interesting.
So you look at the cube, you set it down, you put all the variations in your mind, and then you pick up the cube and you make your hands execute them. That's what this seems like.
Interesting.
Because
maybe this is why I've never solved a Rubik's Cube.
Willman knows all the possible. Willman knows all the possible patterns and then how to like undo variation. Actually, when I started trying to learn, I can't do it anymore, but I used to be able to solve Rubik's Cubes. I did have a master sheet of the different like moves and variations, like to be like, to orient the bottom and all those sorts of things.
Interesting.
So
something you could like math out for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Then this show called Game of Thrones came on, and I had to push a whole bunch of lore into my head, and out with the Rubik's cubes.
That's fair.
But I did have a fun time, and it was nice seeing Wilman Rubik's cubing his way with the Saw Gerrera thing, which means I think we are going to talk a little bit more about Wilman when we talk about the world building for this episode. But I think that just leaves us with the Coruscant to do. And I like that you were like, not a lot of big space battles. Neil, we go to the Senate that has multiple species in this episode. We have party goers of a different species that we have not seen before. I think Coruscant is equally as expensive as Ghorman this episode.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, there's a lot of cool effects. And again, a really good blending. I mean, I made a quip about like, they did a bunch of good set extensions, but this is some magnificent compositing going on in this television show, because you're blending, clearly a lot of digital backgrounds with practical effects up front and human characters. And it's really impressive. There are not any shots in this entire show so far that have felt inconsistent. I think.
Yes.
And that's like every TV show has that. Every once in a while a shot will kind of stick out as like, oh, okay, so that was when they had to shoot later, and it's sort of a pickup shot. Or maybe they didn't have the best take of that one and they just had to sort of make it work. Or, this is a rushed special effect at the end. This was the last one they worked on.
See Daredevil, quote unquote, one shot fight from Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they needed another couple weeks on this. Nothing like that in Andor. It's so perfectly polished and incredible. And I think very fun from a design standpoint. I put a picture of in our notes here that we need to talk about this guy's hat. I learned a lot about this guy. Apparently is the Oath Keeper of the Senate.
Yes.
I was like, what is his deal? Because first of all, he's got his own little prayer thing that he's doing that Mon Mothma does not seem to be super into.
Right.
So what's so he's not like the leader of the Senate.
No, this is a new position, actually. Because
I was watching this and I'm like, is this like the head of the Senate giving away like the last droplets of democratic power to the emperor? But I'm like, no, I think that comes later.
I was more like, where's Chairman Masameta? I know who's supposed to be leading the Senate. It is not this dude, but the like leader of the Senate, who we see a lot of in the prequel trilogy. He, I guess, is not the one that does like these procedural things. So he doesn't like call for a quorum. He doesn't do this initiation oath.
Sure.
That the Oath Keeper is giving.
Similar to the American Senate, that like the leader of the Senate doesn't. They have like a parliamentarian and shit.
I would guess this guy is appointed, not elected. I would guess that would be the difference. I mean, not that it really matters in the Imperial Senate anymore, but when this was the Galactic Republic.
So he's kind of like the Galactic Senate priest.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
And then he has to, give everybody the oath of the Empire.
He's got an amazing hat.
Yeah, he's got an amazing hat. He's got an amazing, I don't know, chin, neck, whatever that is.
His whole look is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I hope we don't see the end of the Oath Keeper. There's some like current novels being put out about the early Imperial period. I wonder if he's going to start showing up in there, because he did show up, or the job of the Oath Keeper did show up in, I think, late 2023 in a Pablo Hidalgo visual guide about the early days of the rebellion. So they obviously knew at that point, 2023, probably that they were going to need this guy for Andor. Unless he shows up somewhere else, and gotta figure it out.
Sure.
All right, let's get to some corners before we get to the storm. I am not going to forget about this. We're going to start with this. If you like this, then try. If you like these 3 episodes of Andor, maybe you'd like this media. Neil, what do you have to recommend this week?
Well, this week I'm going to recommend another television show. And folks who have listened to us for a long time and are especially patrons at patreon.com/DSANDNEIL are very familiar with this television show. But this week, more than other weeks of Andor, really had me thinking that I should go back and finish The Expanse as soon as I finish Preacher, which is imminent. It's a show about space, more of our galaxy of space, though, our solar system to be specific, and a near future version. But it's got a lot of very similar things on its mind. The results of cultural isolation, imperialism, capitalism, war, being gay in space, fighting over resources in space, being extremely hot, and again, gay in space. All of these things in The Expanse. It also has where I stopped, which I think was like either right at the end of season 5 or right at the beginning of season 6. There are 6 seasons overall. Was as it was getting into some of its more revolutionary storylines and sort of warlike storylines. So I feel like that's what really connected, because it's like the escalating tension and the escalating clandestine operations that are causing the rising action of this rebellion really reminded me of where The Expanse sort of goes to. So, if you like space stuff that's horny and also about revolutions, The Expanse. There you go.
Yeah.
Little horny. Andor's not as horny as The Expanse, not by a long shot, but
no, The Expanse, and
it's got a lot of
The
hot
Expanse
people.
The Expanse is definitely hornier than Deep Space Nine, our previous, if you like, space and
we got to continue
things.
to push the envelope.
Yeah, we'll get getting sexier and sexier. Mine is a bit of a downer, but a great piece of cinema. It's the 1966 movie, The Battle of Algiers, which is a fictional movie that tells the story of a real Algerian War of Independence that took place between 1954 and 1957. Very specifically, there was a National Liberation Front, much like there's a Ghorman frontier in Star Wars. And then the French, who ironically are not the oppressed ones, like they are the space French here in Ghorman. They are the colonizers in this case because Algeria was under French rule. They sent in some paratroopers, and very quickly this ground war became a war of atrocities, where the rebels had to really escalate to make some colonizers feel unsafe, and some French paratroopers really tried to send the message that you would have a painful death if you join the Liberation Front. It is a movie that I've maybe rewatched once because when I watched it the first time, it was just a complete revelation for me. I watched it when we were invading this country called Iraq back 20 years ago. There's about and it was the beginning of a complexity that I think when it's simplistic, it can be called both sidesism. But the reality that Battle of Algiers shows to you is that these are very complex things that desperate people turn to when they are being colonized or being violently resisted. I just always assumed that like America and colonizers were the good guy. I was a teenager. I only went to public school in America. That's what I assumed.
Sure.
This and the Iraq War, Battle of Algiers and the Iraq War were the beginning of my actual education about people and beliefs and really, really horrible, violent conflicts.
Sure.
So I recommend it to everybody. The Criterion version of it is beautiful and haunting.
Colonialism, bad.
Colonialism, bad. Resistances, hard.
Yeah, exactly. Especially this week for Andor and company.
Yeah. But back to Star Wars. This week's world building, as we mentioned, Ghorman, what a set. We have the Ghorman front, the Ghorman rebels. These are the French of space, but they do have a very cool nonsense language that is a bunch of European things that, you get the idea that space French, but they're not exactly space French. I
Sure.
enjoyed the gore that
Apparently,
we got
they
to hear.
developed the whole Gore language.
Great.
Based on French. Like it has. So they hired French actors. I would learn this again from the behind the scenes featurette. They hired a bunch of French actors, obviously, and the phonetics are based on French, but it actually is its own language. So some of the actors were joking that there would be times on set where they would speak Gore to each other. And it's like, that's kind of fun. That's a fun way to spend Disney's money.
Yes,
we're not just going to
absolutely.
do French. We're going to make a language that's like one step off of French and teach it to a bunch of French actors who, again, are also very handsome.
Yeah, it's got some Germanic syllables, it sounds like, too. It is like, what a language. I love a new Star Wars language that isn't just people making up Huttese. Like, accurate languages, I like it. Give me my Dothraki, give me my Gore. God, it bothers me that R2D2 just beeps and boops. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I like for Star Wars, especially diversity of like human languages, right? Like it's easy when it's like an alien species, a non-human species, to have an interesting language, but it's kind of fun that the humans have their own, different languages.
And they speak basic, but only when they need to.
Sure.
Also, the world building front, Dakar is back from the sequel series. This is where Saw and Willman are hanging out. That is also where the final attack against Starkiller base is launched from in The Force Awakens. That is the same planet. That is the same base.
I knew it looked familiar.
Yeah. But it's funny that like Saw's like, we're burning everything.
Is that where the other Star Wars gay kiss happens? I think it is. Isn't that in The Force Awakens?
No, that's a different planet in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, right.
That they get
the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Because remember at the beginning of The Last Jedi, they have to flee Dakar because they're being chased by Hux and his big ship.
Yep.
Anyway, good to see Dakar. And then also we have Senate Investiture Week, or Vesti Week, as it is described on Good Morning Coruscant. This is new. We knew there was an Empire Day that would celebrate the establishment of the Empire, but this is the first knowledge we've had that on Coruscant it is an entire week that culminates in Empire Day, where it's sort of like a weekly-long celebration. It has the swearing in of the new senators, and as we see, everybody gets dressed up and tries to make political allies and pretends like there isn't a very quiet subjugation colonization war going on in the background. But I do like the idea of Vesti Week. I think that just like the opulence and distraction of the ruling class while things are happening politically is like one of the things that probably Hunger Games probably gave me like the most entertaining version of it. And I'm sad that we don't get more of it in Star Wars. So I'm thrilled with Andor giving us all of these Mon Mothma's storylines where we get to see like Chandrilla, or we get to see Coruscant during Vesti Week. I like fancy Star Wars. I'm sad it didn't work out for the Star Wars Hotel because it seemed like that was going to push people towards fancy Star Wars.
Sure.
But didn't happen.
Honestly, they should have just made the Star Wars Hotel the Ghorman Square.
Yeah.
Where like you stay there for the weekend and then the massacre happens.
You stay there for the weekend and then you die.
And then stormtroopers show up and kill you. Anyway. No, I love this as one of the unique things that Andor can do in the Star Wars universe, which is give us, I mean, there are characters who come from the elite ruling class, right? Leia and her family are but their planet gets blown up pretty quickly after we meet them. So like we never get to like get into that society and what her life was like as a princess, for example.
Space Laura Dern also comes from a fancy society, right? And we just we barely get enough of her.
We do have these important characters who come from that place of privilege in this world. So it's really cool that they've, and obviously another great way to spend Disney's money, which is making really fancy shit and building out Coruscant, which I think is cool. Yeah, I'm I'm into it. I mean, the Mon Mothma storyline has been one of the absolute best, outside of the sort of core Cassian story. But of all the diversions, I've enjoyed the Mon Mothma diversions the most because she gets to have all the tense conversations, the same kinds of tense conversations that Diego Luna is having, but in much fancier environments.
Yeah. And of course, this week is the debut of the Benjamin Bratt version of Bail Organa.
Sure.
Which because of, scheduling conflicts, Jimmy Smits couldn't make it. If it goes forward, if there's more to do with Bail Organa, do you give it back to Jimmy Smits? You just let there be one Star Wars project where he's not Bail?
I mean, maybe you just keep Benjamin Bratt around. Let Jimmy Smits sail off into the sunset. Depends on the age of because I think Benjamin Bratt is fairly significantly younger than Jimmy Smits.
Oh, that's a good question.
Is that, hold on. Now I'm going to look this up. Benjamin Bratt is 61. I feel like Jimmy Smits is older than that. 69. So almost 10-year age difference. So I think it would be hilarious if they made multiple Star Wars projects going forward that required Bail Organa at two different points in his life, like an older one and a younger one. And they just did both. Right. Again, another fun way to spend Disney's money. Cast, why not both? So yeah, I guess it just depends on. I would do it based on age. If he needs to be a little bit older, Jimmy Smits. If it needs to be like this particular era, Benjamin Bratt.
He's on Alderaan. He blows up in 3 years.
I guess that's true.
When are we going to need Jimmy Smits? Anyway, okay. I like your attempt to thread a needle.
And he can't force Ghost, unfortunately.
He cannot force Ghost. He did not have any force powers.
That we knew of. He did know Yoda. That's true.
So,
and he was on the right side of things, so.
That's right. Neil, who was your MVP for this batch of episodes?
And we're picking characters who are MVPs.
Correct.
Because if we were not picking characters, it would be Faye Marseille, who just absolutely crushes it this week as Vel. But my character MVP, unfortunately for the Rebellion, we get some extreme competence from Cyril Karn, who seems to really have his shit together, all around. He's doing excellent work as a double agent. He seems to have tamed the situation with his mother to as far as you can go, I guess. His home life is good as far as we can tell, with his girlfriend Deidre, girlfriend / handler / boss. But yeah, I think that the showing infiltration, showing counterintelligence operations, showing how a false flag comes together is a really cool function that Andor can do. Being set specifically in this time frame and being in this part of the rebellion. And Cyril, was a character that in season 1, I wondered sort of what his purpose was. Is it
right?
Ultimately, is he just here to be part of Deidre's story? And no, turns out he's a really good evil spy, and he has got the Ghormans in trouble now.
He does. My MVP is for the Rebellion. I'm going to give it to Lonnie Young, who almost quit last season.
Sure.
And here gets Luthen to look at Ghorman for the first time because he's like, something's up. Miro's in there and has been for a year. And then shows up and helps Clea remove the piece, kind of against his will. But then when he's questioned, he was listening and is able to tell, Krennic that it's a book that you touch in order to read. Mm-hmm. And I think Lonnie, I would be more scared if I was him, because not only does he know who Luthen is, he was in the same room with Luthen, Clea, and Krennic. That just has to be the most terrifying situation.
He's lucky he's wearing his full uniform, because underneath, whatever his like second layer underneath is, he is sweating through that shit.
Yes.
Like he is soaked.
I'm glad that Claire keeps it together, but I ultimately gonna give it to Lonnie, because when we saw Lonnie last season, I was like, I don't know if this guy's gonna be able to keep it together, and he has at least for a little bit. And so
He's been very
I think
clutch.
this is his shining moment where he turned the rebellion on to something that's gonna end up being important. But I don't know, maybe there's something more important to learn that Lonnie needs to figure out with the rebellion. I couldn't tell you.
We'll see.
In the calm. Neil, we've been sort of saying that these could have been movies. They're all around a feature length. And so if this was a Star Wars movie, what would you title this movie?
Well, listen, one Star Wars movie was almost called The Duel of the Fates. No, it's the title of a soundtrack score.
Both. Colin Trevorrow's episode 9 is called Duel of the Fates.
I'm right. Sort of in that vein, I would call this section the contest of tradecraft. Because that's what we're seeing. This is, I feel like, the most spy heavy section, at least so far, of this. Because,
That's true.
like the first 3 episodes felt like it was, especially with Cassian, one mission, which is just like, I'm stealing this one starfighter, and I just got to get it from one planet to the other and then get home. And that's pretty much the whole mission. Here we've got all kinds of shit going on. Yeah.
I like it. I don't think it's going to move plastic. I don't think people are buying the contest of tradecraft toys.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's a big
But
mouthful.
then again, in this hypothetical world, we are also getting to make 4 very nerdy, politically dense Star Wars movies. So I don't think that they care about commercial viability.
We get to make this tradecraft movie, the contest of tradecraft, and we get the Carl Rylance Black Series figure. I guess I could see that working.
I'll come up with a banger title for the finale. Don't worry.
Nice. Rogue Zero. I'm going to go with Star Wars Frontlines, based on Luthen saying that Ghorman could be a good new frontline for the Empire, which means these are all the front lines. These inflection points that we're looking at. In the storm, I'm going to talk about other things happening at the year 3 BBY, and I don't think necessarily this is the best example of front lines, but I do think we are seeing the front lines.
Sure.
Luthen's stretched too thin. He's got to do stuff himself. The Gores are antagonizing the Empire. The Empire is antagonizing the Ghorman front back. So I'm gonna give it front lines.
All right, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I was inspired a little bit
more
by our trivia
than mine.
Yeah, it could have been Star Wars Uprising, but that's a mobile game already, so I can't steal that.
That's true.
All right, let's get to the Dead Speak, the Best Line Award. The Dead Speak, of course, being my favorite line from the scroll of any Star Wars from The Rise of Skywalker. Neil, what's your Best Line Award? I think you cheated, but I'm going to give it to you.
Well, here's the thing. I cheated in the notes, but I brought 2. And they're both said by the same person, just in 2 different contexts. My first one is in character, Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen when they're walking out of the party, and he's like, "We should have killed Krennic while we were up there." Yeah. That's fun. That's one of the more fun lines. But then my other one is the very insightful stuff that he said in the behind the scenes featurette about, he's talking about the scene where he goes to where Luthen goes to Bix, and how again, similar to what you were talking about earlier, where it's like, or were we talking about this? Where it's like the idea that he needs Bix to get back in the game, and also potentially putting, like Luthen is in this mode that we talked about earlier of like the time for hesitation is through, the time for thinking long on these issues is through, which actually creates a much more dangerous situation for Bix if she can't get back in the field soon. where it's like she knows too much. Luthen is the kind of guy who kills people who know too much. So he talks about this idea where he has this moment of empathy for her and how the reason for revolution is empathy. And I was like, damn, Stellan Skarsgård, that is a good one. The reason for revolution is empathy. Because then I thought about it and I was like, damn, that is true. When you think about, uprisings, even ones that are going on currently, it's all about having empathy for people who just want to exist and not be like genocided and shit.
I believe it. Mine is a monologue. I'm not going to apologize. Of course they're good. This one comes from Vel at the end of the final episode. I'm not going to say remember this because I don't have to. This is on you now. This is like skin. You're taking her with you wherever you go for the rest of your useless life. Don't you look away from me. She was a warrior. She was everything you have daydreamed about. She was a blooded, fearless warrior whose loss will be mourned in ways that you will never understand. She was a miracle, and you, to die like this because of you, some whining, simpering, foolish child. Don't you dare cry. You'll make up for this forever. Bad news for Sam. I think he's going to make up for it for about a year, but we'll have to talk about that
we'll
next
see how that
week.
Goes. But once again, Faye Marseille crushing it.
Yes.
Perfect casting to deliver that monologue.
Fantastic performance. And then also what a fantastic response from a soldier in the rebellion who just lost their lover. There's been a lot of I've been having a lot of thought about like when you're resisting some sort of government, what do you do with despair? And on one of my other podcasts, Hiding in the War Room, I do kick off each podcast episode proper with a little bit from Rage Against the Machine's song Freedom, where he just very quietly says anger is a gift. I think that's what Vel is embodying here. There's a horrible tragedy and it isn't fair. And this is on this revolutionary now.
Sure.
Just as much as his own people is on his conscience. Poor Sam.
Yeah.
Should have just spelled your name with one M like a normal person.
Yeah. And she, I assume deep inside of her, she wants to like just beat this dude to death with his own gun. But she takes the high road in a different way, right? Which is to I guess I don't want to say inspire him, but to use her anger to fuel him, hopefully in some way that will help the rebellion, to not let this go to waste, right? Like she is obviously very broken because of this, but she's so good as a soldier, as a revolutionary, that even in that moment, she's like, I can't let this go to waste. I need this to mean something. And I need this Sam guy to carry this with him so that he will continue to do the work for our rebellion. It's great stuff.
Love it. And then let's do some lore before we head into the storm. I sort of referenced it before, but we get a direct reference to what's now called the Tarkin Massacre, but it was the original Ghorman Massacre. So how this goes is they were making a Star Wars role-playing game, this company called West End Games, to basically do a tabletop RPG where you could play in the Star Wars game. And as a part of that, there was a companion book called the Rebel Alliance Source Book. It was just basically more world building for the tabletop game. But this was an era in Star Wars where we thought maybe there would never be any more Star Wars. So occasionally these things were taken as canon. Very specifically, a man named Paul Murphy, who wrote the Rebel Alliance Source Book in 1990, saw that there was needed to be some story behind Senator Bail Organa. Very specifically, there was a piece in the Star Wars role-playing game. We're talking about Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma was talking to Princess Leia and basically said, your dad was aghast at the very idea of attempting to overthrow the government he'd given his whole life to. It wasn't until the Ghorman Massacre that he turned it around. So Paul Murphy's like, well, maybe they should know what the Ghorman Massacre is. So here's the original Ghorman Massacre text. Ghorman is a small planet located in the CERN sector just outside the core worlds. The citizens of Ghorman were staging a peaceful demonstration against new taxes. They staged a sit-in at the spaceport, blocking all of the port's landing pads. A Republic warship, arriving at the planet to collect the taxes, landed in spite of the citizens, killing dozens and wounding hundreds more. The commander in charge of the warship, one Captain Tarkin, was not prosecuted for the murders. In fact, he was promoted. And so I remember talking about this because I had a friend who was super into obscure Star Wars lore in the mid 1990s. I wouldn't have been able to tell you it was called the Ghorman Massacre, but the image of Grand Moff Tarkin just being like, just, Monty Python footing.
Does sound like a very Tarkin thing to do. I will say that.
Yeah. So I remembered that. And then it was sort of my memory was refreshed when some details about season 2 of Andor came out, and it became apparent we might get to see the Ghorman Massacre. So I thought we were going to be completely overwriting the old Ghorman Massacre, but here we just see is just the Tarkin Massacre. We've changed some ranks / probably when it happened in time, but it does seem to be pretty close to when the Empire was first declared in, I guess, like BBY 19. So I'm glad to see this coming. A good old website called theringer.com and a very nice man named Ben Lindbergh has some quotes
we know Ben.
from Paul Murphy being like, holy shit, you could quote me on that, because when he realized that Andor was going to spend like $300 million bringing his little paragraph to life. It was pretty great.
That's fantastic.
And then the last piece is breaking news on the lore front.
Oh.
The visual guide for The Acolyte came out this week, and we got to see the white Jedi robes of Venestra Rowe. She is the green Jedi that walks in to talk to Master Yoda at the end of that series. It is revealed that her Jedi robes are made out of this Ghorman silk that
interesting
the spiders have been sewing. So Ghorman has been a very wealthy planet because of its textiles way back since the High Republic.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for lore. Neil has questions and I have answers in the storm, as well as some other stuff that happened this year in BBY canon. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. If not, we will see you next Wednesday for more trivia and 3 more episodes of Andor. We're back for the storm. I just want to say I don't really know what to be doing with the storm, as I said in the first episode. Maybe I'll figure it out by the time we're done with Andor. Who knows? I started off being like Edie Card, the Cyril's mom, played by actress Catherine Hunter. We saw the last of her in episode 3. Boop, 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 boop. That's how I started the storm last week. Completely wrong. She's definitely in these episodes. I'm not going to use that necessarily. I'm not going to say goodbye to characters in the series here in the storm. That doesn't seem useful.
There is another massacre coming, though. I remember that.
There is another massacre coming. Yeah, poor Sam, I don't think makes it through the Ghorman Massacre.
And I mean, speaking of the lore that you just explored with Tarkin, and I think that's kind of fun. It's a fun balance for Tony Gilroy. This is a good place to talk about this because of how he discards the K2SO origin story that had been put out there. What was that? Was that for a video game or a comic book?
It was like for a comic.
For a comic book. Where he's like, nah, fuck that. I'm making my own thing. I got my own idea where K2SO and Cassian came together. And, but on the flip side, he does this thing with, the Tarkin Massacre that inspires so much joy in the creator. I think that's is a fun give and take sometimes when you're doing an adaptation like this.
I just like when they can squish it all together. The most fun. I mean, I know we all joke about the glup shittos, but
sure,
if you're, an elder millennial like us, I definitely am like, oh, hey, that thing I thought that didn't happen, it happened again. I cannot wait for someone to say Revan in some Star Wars thing in the future, because I would love for that to be rescued from canon. And I'm glad they did honor both versions of the Ghorman massacre. I think the one we're about to see next week is so much more effective. Even though I do like the visual again of Tarkin just being like, yeah, just set it down.
Sure.
Other things happening this year in Star Wars canon. Big year for the main players in the rebellion.
I mean, we're getting close to the battle, so
we are.
Things are going to heat up.
This is the year that Leia Organa discovers that her parents are working against the Empire. She goes in a comic book on a little trip to a planet called Crait, which she will flee to in The Last Jedi. But this is the year that she figures it out and sort of quietly joins the rebellion herself, because she does not like the Galactic Empire.
Does that mean that she's been to that base on Crait before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then we have Vader and Ahsoka battle at the Sith Temple on Malachor. Maul is also there.
Okay.
The crew of the Ghost is also there. And Ahsoka, long story short, gets pulled out of time at this moment and spends a couple of years nowhere before she gets reinserted from the world between worlds.
Sure.
That all takes place in Star Wars Rebels.
Got it. When you need to be outside the plot for several years, that's what happens to you.
But what's Vader up to? He's not dealing with Ghorman because he is still hunted down some Jedi.
Sure.
And also, he's not going to have a great time with it. So next week, I believe we're entering the Thrawn era, where Thrawn is around doing stuff, just not in our corner of the galaxy, which will be fun to talk about.
Well, maybe that's why Vader is able to go and do so many personal missions with the Jedi, because this is the era where it does seem like the Empire, or at least maybe the Emperor thinks this, the Empire has some fairly competent upper management types like Krennic and Thrawn, who, things go bad for these guys pretty quickly as we get closer to the battle and the actual, the Skywalker saga era. So, I think that all makes sense to me, that Vader's not around.
Vader kind of doesn't give a shit about the Empire. Vader's 100% about the Force.
Until
so
somebody
he's going to go where
steals
the
the
Force
plans for
users
the
are.
Death Star, Vader's not even remotely interested.
Yeah. He's like, I'll go check it out, but oh no, they got away and went to Tatooine. I'm not going back there. Fuck that. And then Vader pieces out. But him not being here because he's off dealing with Force users definitely tracks for good old masked Anakin at this time. All right, Neil, you have some questions this week.
I do.
I would love to attempt to answer them.
All right. And listen, these are a little sillier because I could ask you plot questions, but we have answers for those. It's called just watch the 6 other episodes of Andor.
Right. No, I do like these questions you came up with because they're also talking points.
Sure. So the first one is, how do I know which of these character names are just very Star Wars or ones that are like a writer's room special? Right. Because I keep thinking this with Willman. These episodes written by Beau Willimon, and think about how writers often do this, where they name characters after people they know, or they inspire thing, or like the character of Cara Rylance. I'm like, is this because Tony Gilroy's friends with Mark Rylance or something? But like, how many of these do you feel are just Star Wars names? And are there any, do you think, that are not?
That's a good question. So
because many of these characters are invented for the show, right?
Yes, and there's a wide and rich history of being like, I'm inventing something for Star Wars. I'm just going to name it, whatever I want. I believe. Yeah, so Tony Gilroy's daughter's name is Mina, which is why the farm planet is Mina Rao.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So that's just like, hey. is Willimon based on our writer? Is I don't think so, because he was in like episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was over on Ferrix, and I don't think Willimon was a writer yet. But
Sure.
let me
Unless
see
they
if
were like friends or something. He and Tony Gilroy.
Well, and it would be hard because it's not just Willimon. I do think saw Guerrera going Wilmon and like breaking it down is Willimon being like, it's not 1-to-1 me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, no, this name is Wilmon, not Willimon. But yeah,
It's just kind of funny to me.
The easiest, okay, Bill Wilmon definitely wrote on season 1. As a matter of fact, he wrote One Way Out and the Arcana 5 prison stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So some of my favorite stuff from season 1. So yeah, maybe it is him. That seems like it could be a possibility.
All right.
I was unable to find an interview where somebody said that's where he came from, and Wikipedia behind the scenes does not help. But yeah, it's a good guess. You kind of have to guess.
Sure. That's fair. All right. My second question is something that hopefully we won't have to guess as much with. And could be even sillier. But so we got all these antiques that Luthen and all of his high society friends are interacting with. And we've seen many of these antiques get intricate backstories, right? Like the one at the wedding had a whole history. It was very important to that planet. What was the planet? What's Mon Mothma's planet again? Chandrilla. So yeah, it had all this Chandrillan history behind it. This week we have the Tinian Codex, which is I found out because I Wikipedia'd it, is a show invention, it appears. Mm-hmm. But my question to you is, I keep seeing these things pop up, and I'm like, all right, is any of this linked to other Star Wars plot points? Are these things, many of these things, just invented for the show, or have there been any that you've like picked out that have been like, oh shit, that's comes up somewhere else later?
It seems like this is mostly like you'll get Easter eggs of stuff that comes up later in production design, mm-hmm. but in the script they're made up specifically for this use.
Okay.
I think the most...
So it's not something I should be obsessing over.
I mean, if you want to look at the stuff every time we're in Luthen's shop, I think that is fun to obsess over.
Okay.
Because like, okay, they got a little bit cute in season 1. I don't know why, because they just, I don't know, wanted to be cute. But in like season 1, the Sankara stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom are in Luthen's shop.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
So is the fertility idol from the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark that is frozen in carbonite in Luthen's shop in the background of season 1. Sure.
All in the vein of like E.T. being in the Galactic Senate.
Yes.
in
but
the prequels.
More like this is season 2. They got everything, all the Easter eggs, as far as I can tell, are very specifically based out of other Star Wars things.
Okay.
Very specifically in season 2, there is 1 or 2 Gungan skulls.
Okay. Interesting.
And the only reason I notice is because their ears have bones in them. And I was like, that is not how I ever pictured a Gungan skull working.
Interesting.
But that did happen. StarWars.com has a list of, I think, hidden treasures in Luthen Rail's gallery. And they have a season 2 section and a season 1 section. And the season 1 section is like, these people like never notice it. Like he has a Sith datacron and a map to the world between worlds and like all these things that seem like really big Star Wars relics. And then the other ones are like, in season 2, they're like down to like Wookiee shields or like Kalikori, which is like a Twi'lek, piece of adornment that like shows up in Rebels, or like a Royal Naboo headdress. They're not going out weird. They're like not like putting Indiana Jones stuff in there anymore.
Okay.
But the reason I realized that if they talk about it, they've made it up is I spent probably like 30 minutes trying to figure out Luthen when he first shows up at the party. He's talking to somebody And
about the ring.
Yeah, the alien's like, that ring looks like not of this period. He's like, it's Lost Empire. I'm like, what the fuck is the Lost Empire? Made up for this. It's the first time we heard whatever C word they call the planet is, and the Lost Empire. Luthen has just made that up. And our reading book stone, that is made up for the show. So I think if it
the Tinian
features
Codex,
prominently,
that's what it's called.
Yeah. If it features prominently in the show, they've made it up. Same with like the species that was genocided to make the torture headphones. That was made up. The Easter eggs seem to be the stuff that's from other things.
Interesting.
But who knows at this point? Like Katie Rich's like first question after Andor's season 2 ended was, what happens to Vel? And I'm like, she gets another Star Wars project, you know? So maybe this stuff does become, I don't think Clea necessarily has more story to tell, but she could. I would watch a Clea and Vel rebellion years. You know, sort of like You Have Friends Everywhere, I think is how they end the series. And I would love to see what they did. Or as a Star Wars Reddit post said, like, look at all these characters who like in the space of 24 hours lose like all of their friends in the battle of like Scarif, and Jeddah gets like blown up and like Saw Gerrera's gone. And then a smuggler limps in with a farm boy wizard, you know, with the princess that we thought was lost. And within 48 hours, they blow up the Death Star. Like the rebellion really takes off.
It's really crazy from this perspective of like people who've been working in the rebellion for many years
for like
at this
years.
point.
So who knows if any of these artifacts would come back? It would certainly be interesting if they did.
Nice.
You know who else loved collecting artifacts? Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi. He just went around and collected a whole bunch of stuff. So maybe we'll get to see some of these later.
Maybe he's got the codex. We'll
maybe he has the codex. So I think that's gonna do it this week for a healthy sized podcast. Neil and I will both be back next week to talk about Andor season 2, episodes 7 through 9. And we'll see if Neil can catch up on the trivia. Until then, be excellent to each other and be very wary of what your first step in a larger rebellion is.